beat Bob Ross and we're live.
Oh, great! Finally, that was so much faster than the first time. I think something was up with the first time.
Yeah, something got hitched up somewhere along the way for sure.
Yep.
That
Yep.
sucked. Like, I'm just gonna look at our thing here. That took like 3.5 minutes
Yeah.
of
No,
waiting.
you're right. Yep.
Yeah, man.
But hey, Bob Ross, right?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I I remember watching his show on the PBS station every now and then after school. It's kind of weird that he's become like a popular thing today because of Twitch.
I can't remember ever really like looking forward to or like wanting to watch Bob Ross, like actually putting Bob Ross on.
Yeah, especially because like we were kids. He was like slow talking and boring.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. You're just watching this guy paint, and yeah, he just. Oh no, I always just thought he seemed kind of creepy.
I mean, yeah, like he's holding something back. It's kind of cool though that he was like a veteran in I think it was the Vietnam War or something. Then he comes back
I
and
didn't
he
know
just
this.
like paints. That's just what he did.
I
After.
get. Well, hey, he earned it.
Yeah, he did
Yeah.
for sure. But yeah, like
And my mute button didn't
60,000
even work for
people.
that. Great. I'm gonna apologize ahead of time for the coughing. I'm gonna try and mute it, but as you see, sometimes my mute button doesn't work.
Well, I mean, the coughing is probably because you're just getting out the last bit of your sickness, right?
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully this is the last bit.
Yeah.
I'm feeling better, but you know, fingers crossed. Knock on wood. Wood. I think this
Yeah.
is wood.
There has to be wood somewhere.
Yeah. There's always wood somewhere. Wink. I don't know.
Exactly.
Halloween. It's in 2 days.
Yeah.
That means this is a spooky episode of Top Down Perspective.
Yeah.
Woo.
Sean Booker.
I wish I had like a sheet or something I could like go put it over my head. I don't though.
I've never found like you know how people for Twitter and stuff will change their name to something Halloweeny.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything with my name that would work.
Let's see. Paul Fleck. Is Paul short for anything?
No. Unfortunately.
Paulson?
Okay.
Is your full name Paulson Flexon?
Oh God, I wish.
Paul Fleck. Come on, chat, help us out. Paul Fleck.
Paulson
How can-
Flexen is the best name I've ever heard.
A spooky name. Paul Fleck. I don't know. You know, I'll think about it as we go on.
Sure.
And if anyone in the chat can point one out, we'll read some ones on the air. Paul Fleck. Got to make it spooky.
Like
Okay.
I love that your name literally has boo in it.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
You could just do Booker or, you know, Scream instead of Sean.
Yeah.
Like Scream even almost looks similar to the spelling of my name.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty close.
Yeah. Are you doing anything for Halloween?
Probably handing out candy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing like special.
Did you get what candy did you get?
Just like a mix of whatever. I mean,
What's in there? We got to know. What if the people come to your house, what are they expecting?
I think it's like the Nestle stuff. So like those tiny little crunch bars.
I love crunches.
They're for sure in there. What the hell else do they mix with that shit now? Like, is that the one with Coffee Crisp? Might be.
Coffee Crisp is good too. I don't think they really have Coffee Crisp much down here.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, I was telling people, because I would have a joke where people are like, "Oh wait, because I've never really had coffee before. I don't like hot drinks." And they'd be like, "So you haven't had coffee?" And I'm like, "Well, I've had Coffee Crisp. It's probably similar, right? Huh?" Which obviously it's not.
Yeah.
So that's the joke. But
Yeah.
everyone's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And I'm like, what?
And they don't have ketchup chips down there at all.
Oh, okay. B-Man in the chat. Paul Heck?
Ooh.
That's like the first one that's
Yeah.
worth mentioning so
Yeah,
far.
no, I know. Although, to be fair, Paul Tholomew turning into Paul Hollowboo is pretty
Right.
hilarious.
I get, but then you have to change your name to Paul Tholomew, so which is also spelt incorrectly. I'm just gonna point that out there. You know what are better than Crunch bars?
What's that?
Crunchy bars.
Which ones are those ones?
They're like yellow. They got sponge toffee.
I hate those. Holy shit!
You don't like sponge toffee?
I hate it.
Oh, you're
so
crazy.
Much. I hate it
crazy.
so fucking much. Darth Paul.
That doesn't even work. You guys, you can't just add a word. You have to like. It's got to be a pun.
I love it. I mean, at least they're trying. A for effort. F for success. So far. I love it. You know what's better than crunchy bars?
Yeah. Let me think real quick. Kit Kat.
Kit Kats are actually way better than crunchy bars.
Japanese Kit Kats. So you get those cool flavors. That's what I'm all about.
Oh man, I want them so bad.
I'm talking blueberry cheesecake.
That sounds delicious.
Banana. Wait, what was it? Banana chili pepper. That was another one I had.
That sounds like it could be interesting. I don't know how that would taste. I can't.
It was. It just kind of tasted like dark chocolate, with a little bit of a kick in the back. There wasn't much banana, if I remember.
Okay.
You know, what is that snack subscription service?
Yeah. Oh shit.
Like every podcast I listen to advertises it.
I mean, there's the healthy one, which is I don't think the one you're talking about, but
no, I think
Nature
so.
Box.
Nature Box, that's what I am talking about.
Oh, okay.
I found one similar, but it's just Japanese candies.
What's it called? I'm looking it up.
You could probably just look it up. It's $12 a month. They send you a box of Japanese candy, which I was really tempted to get, but I was like, I barely even eat candy. Like I'll just find my fun Kit Kats elsewhere.
It is literally called Japan Crate.
Japan Crate. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. JapanCrate.com. Oh, dude, we should get on this and get TDP a promo code.
Go to japancrate.com/TDP. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's the first one I've been like, oh, that'd be cool. But I just don't eat candy, so it's not like, yeah, doesn't really matter.
Honestly, some of the stuff I probably wouldn't eat either, because I'd like me some chocolate sometimes, but in general, I don't like a lot of sweet things. Like, I like salty things. I would prefer, like, beef jerky over candy.
Oh, okay. You'd be a big fan of, like, European candies, then. They put a lot of salt on them.
Yeah, probably, actually, for sure.
Do you like black licorice?
I love it. It's one of my favorites.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Are you a dad or something? Because as far as I'm concerned, only dads like black licorice.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's dad seems to like black licorice and black jelly beans, and it's like, you're a monster. These taste terrible.
I love them so much.
Oh my god, that's so bad.
The thing is, I don't think my brain, because of like our culture here and how we've been conditioned in the Americas, I don't think my brain would understand candy with salt on it.
But yeah, they have a lot of that in Europe, that's for sure.
Like, I don't think I would be disgusted by it. Like, I've heard, like, for example, Giant Bomb, when they've tried that stuff and whatever, I don't think I would be disgusted, but I don't think I would, like, enjoy it like a treat.
Yeah, I remember we got, when I was in Europe this summer, we got a McFlurry that had black licorice in it, salted black licorice in it.
Okay, that doesn't sound like a good combo, though, personally.
It wasn't. It was really bad.
Yeah, I bet it was.
You know, I finished it because that's what you do. And because my girlfriend's the one who's like really into getting McFlurries of like different flavors, but she hates black licorice.
Oh man!
So she ordered that, and I managed to like force her to eat like 4 bites. After that, she was like, "I'm not eating this anymore." So I was like, "Okay, I'll finish it." But it was terrible. It was real bad.
Also, I have to point out, candied apple doesn't work either.
That's that's
close.
closer. It's at least Halloween, slightly Halloween themed because of the candy.
The thing is, it's not spooky. That's why it doesn't work.
I know it's not spooky, but it's still like Halloween. Like, it's a little closer. I prefer that over Paul Heck, which was my most recent favorite.
Sure. Okay.
So
I'll give you that.
Candy apple. How about an apple?
Poltergeist is good. That is really good.
That's the winner right now by a long shot. I was about to say, what about an apple with a razor blade in it? But Juker in the chat, Poltergeist.
Polter.
Real good Poltergeist flick. I want to see if anyone can top that as the show continues. But we should start the show.
Yeah. I was gonna. Okay, this is what I was going to do. I was gonna say, you know what's better than Crunchy Bars? The Top-Down Perspective podcast.
I thought that's what you were gonna do, but I wasn't done talking about
candy,
Crunchy Bars and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, no, Top-Down Perspective. It's the 29th of October.
Yeah.
I don't know where John is.
He actually streamed today on his channel with the Runaway Guys people, so he is still in Atlanta.
So East Coast. Okay, yeah, he's down with those guys.
Yep.
I guess my girlfriend's watching, and she's also a fan of Poltergeist. So
Poltergeist is so good.
It's real good, yeah. So now you know. Thank you, chat. Anyway, yeah, Sean Booker, Paul Flex here, John. Maybe next week. I have no idea his schedule because I know he comes back to Calgary for a couple days and then leaves again. For a week. So 2 weeks from now, it's almost for sure he's going to be on it. But maybe next week, John will be here.
You know, when he comes back, he's going to say, like, I didn't play anything because I've been traveling.
That's true.
Which is a bold-faced lie. He streamed today.
You would think he'd get some mobile games going with all the flights.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, Final Fantasy Record Keeper is his mobile game.
That's true. And, like, Pokemon... What is that? Pokemon... Dragon...
Oh, Shuffle.
Pokemon Shuffle. That's what I'm... Pokemon Shuffle. Yeah. Homer in the chat. Polucard as a spin on Alucard.
It's pretty good.
It's also just super like nerdy because no one knows what Alucard is unless you know Castlevania.
And then I could just be like, Polucard is actually Draculuap backwards.
Oh, you're right. It is Draculap backwards.
So dumb.
Not many people know Draculap was actually the worse older brother of Dracula. But he died of an overdose because he had a drug addiction.
God damn it.
And the family doesn't like to talk about it much anymore.
Poor Draculuap.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what you've been playing, but why don't you tell me?
Okay, so I haven't really been playing anything worth talking about except for a game kind of called Devilian. It's made by Treon, the people who do Arcade and Rift and some of those types of games. Like people that have played MMO RPGs or that sort of thing probably have heard their name before.
Okay.
It is a Diablo clone, and the whole time I was playing it, it was one of those things that's just like, this is just a worse game than Diablo. Like, the thing is, with Diablo clones, if you don't do anything really new and innovative with how the game plays, there's a Diablo game out there already, and it's what I want, sort of thing. So I didn't play a whole lot of it. I played up to about level 19. I got a character to level 19 in about 2.5 to 3 hours one night.
Oh, man, I don't mean to interrupt you. Homer in the chat brings Uncle Flexter. That is so good.
That's pretty good.
That's so good.
Fuck you, Hank.
Uncle Flexter. Wow.
I love how, like, this is the most important thing for chat right now, is to just think of this stuff.
No,
I'm okay with it.
These are great. I don't know which one I like more. Uncle Flexter is way funnier.
Yeah.
Poltergeist is more like direct reference to Halloween. But, you know, Addams Family, too, is just goofy and spooky.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, you were saying Devilian.
There's not a whole lot to say about it, honestly. It's a Diablo clone. The gimmick in it is that you can do, like, a devil trigger type move where you turn into, like, a demon version of yourself. That's your Devilian form, and it only lasts a certain amount of time, but you do increase damage, you attack faster, and, like, yeah, it's just kind of one of those things that on a boss, you will trigger this to do more damage and kill the boss, and then you're done. So it's kind of easy. You do a lot of damage, and I found myself just pulling, like, a whole group of... If there's a mission area, I'll just pull everything, literally, in that mission area and kill it all with a combo.
So it's too easy?
It's too easy. I got to level 20 almost in 3 hours in one night sitting. Like, it's gross. It's just boring too. Like it doesn't really bring anything new to the table. There's not the loot lust that you get with other games. It's middling in every
So
regard.
it's just a bad Diablo clone.
It kind of is. Yeah, it's just boring. And that's the worst thing you can say about a game is just being boring.
Is it in early access? Maybe it's not done. Is it?
It's in like a closed beta or something. They sent me an email saying like, "Hey, try this out." So I did, and it's
Okay.
meh.
Well, I mean, maybe they're still what's the word I'm looking for? Balancing it.
What's that?
Maybe they're still balancing it.
I mean, maybe. I hope so. Like, yeah, I hope so. If not, I kind of hope it's free to play because that seems like a good thing. That like I just want to play Diablo clone. Oh, this is free. I'll download it, play it for a few hours, and then uninstall it and not worry about it. That would be probably pretty good for it. But I bet they're
Right.
gonna charge like $30 to $50, whatever they do.
And you wouldn't recommend that.
I don't recommend it. No,
Okay.
that's really all I've played though.
Okay. That's fine because I played a huge game this week.
Yeah.
I mentioned it last week that I started up Halo 5. I have now finished Halo 5, and I can talk all about it. Um, that game's real good. That's a lot of fun.
I really want to play it. I've been considering getting an Xbox to play it.
I mean, if you had to get a current gen system, what would you get?
The thing, okay, this is the thing, is that like I watched an LP of Until Dawn this weekend because I don't have a PS4 and that's the only game out, or that game's only out on PS4. So besides that, which I've now seen the entirety of, the only game I would get for like a PS4 is probably Destiny.
Bloodborne? What about Bloodborne?
Bloodborne, yeah, Bloodborne for sure, and Destiny's coming to PC, so I'm not even going to count that. I'll just play that when that comes out.
Is Destiny coming to PC?
They've been saying that, and like, there's nothing official for a date yet, but I can wait. I'm not.
I mean, Destiny is on Xbox as well, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah. So like, as of right now, Halo 5 for Xbox and Bloodborne for PS4. So there's one game on either one that I want to play. So the odds are no longer in PS4's favor. I think you're muted, by the way. There's just some silence.
Yep. Sorry.
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, I'm losing my because I keep muting it for coughing. I don't know about Canada, but I know down here there's a whole whack of Xbox like bundles for the holiday that are going on right now. Like I was seeing something crazy like for 400, you got a 1 terabyte Xbox with Halo and Ori and like 2 other games as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's really good. $400 for you though is like $580 for me.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the.
But to be fair, when you get 3 games with it, that's kind of a good deal too because games up here are $80.
That's that's true. But anyway, so yeah, Halo 5. I haven't played a ton of the multiplayer. I've played like enough of it.
Yeah.
But I'll get into that in a bit. I'm much more of a campaign person.
Yeah.
And the campaign is a lot of fun.
Okay.
Almost every like fight that I would get in, it just kind of opens into like a big area, and then there's just a ton of enemies.
Yeah.
And I was just playing on normal, which I guess might be a little easy, but it was a good enough difficulty for me, and I just felt like super powerful. Like there was tons of stuff going on, things were blowing up everywhere. And unlike the other Halos, when if you want to play like co-op, there's just another Master Chief there that like disappears in cutscenes. You're always with a team. You're always in a group of 4. So there's just like it's just a huge fight all the time because they have to put more enemies because it'd be too easy with 4 against the normal amount of enemies.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of enemies, it's 60 frames locked there. Looks gorgeous. There's tons of great visual tricks of like if an explosion goes off near you, the whole screen will just like almost dissolve and stuff while you're like getting your bearings and whatnot. It just looks great, and like fun is a really good word to describe it. I was having just a ton of fun every time I would get into a fight, as opposed to just being like, man, I just want this fight to like get over with so I can see the rest of the story. I'll say the story's not great.
Well, it's
Um,
the middle part of a trilogy, right? So it
that's the thing, and
probably ends off weird.
it does. It
Okay.
really does. Like,
Shit.
I don't want to spoil it,
No.
but like, yeah, there's definitely a lot more to do at the end of Halo 5. And for the most part, like all the marketing was like, are you on team John or team Locke? Because Master Chief like went rogue to find Cortana after 4.
Yeah.
And that's really only like the first 2 hours of the game. Like they meet up and then it's just kind of John like chasing after, or sorry, Locke chasing after John after that. Just trying to catch up
I
with him.
hate that like Team Lock or Team Chief based thing that they were doing. It's so silly,
I mean,
but
they needed some kind of big marketing.
yeah.
But Paul, are you hashtag team Locke or hashtag team Chief?
Unless this game does something amazing, I'm always hashtag Team Chief. Like always.
Everyone plays the exact same. Like it doesn't even matter.
Okay.
My
Even
one
better.
issue with the campaign though is during some of the cutscenes, a lot of really cool action happens. Like I think the very first cutscene, your team is like sliding down an avalanche and like jumping and rocket boosting along an avalanche while they're shooting guys.
Okay.
And I was just like, please let me play this. I think I'm pretty sure I mentioned this last week, but like a lot of the really cool moments in the cutscenes, like I just wish I could have been playing. But that's the. I mean, the other way you can look at that is the cutscenes were too cool, so
Yeah.
it's a great issue problem to have. Other than that, though, I still had a ton of fun with the game. You, there's a mech suit you can get, which I don't think was in the other Halos, that you just destroy enemies with. Like it's great. There's one mission, and I guess slight spoilers if you're trying to be like totally blank for Halo 5.
Yeah.
A mission kind of near the end. It's in like I'd say the last third, where you're basically walking down a structure. So you're like on the outside. So it's almost like you're on the outside of a building with like mag boots walking down it
Okay.
while
Yeah.
you're in a firefight. And every time you like jump extra far because you're technically falling.
You're falling. Yeah.
Yeah. So just like when you're running super fast. There's enemies running up the thing at you, and below you is a planet.
Okay.
Like it's super cool. It is really cool.
That sounds neat.
Yeah. The other thing, so on the multiplayer side, the new mode is Warzone, which is super open ended, and it works like a territory controlled thing. Oh my god, my cough. Um, each team, I think it's 12 on 12, maybe 10 on 10.
Okay.
You have to try and get 1,000 points, and you get points by killing AI enemies on the field, other human Spartans. Sometimes like a boss enemy will show up on the field. Um, and then and then the other way is by King of the Hill style, getting like control points.
Uh-huh.
Your points will just go up that way. So you're constantly doing this. There's 3 control points. You're always trying to get them. But then their new thing, and this is where the microtransactions come in, is you can buy packs of cards similar to Mass Effect 3.
Okay.
Where remember when you could buy like a pack of and you see what you got? And then you
Yeah.
could use those, and they were single use items, right?
Yeah.
So this has those too, and you can deploy them during the game. So it's like if your team's behind, you're just like, man, I could really use like a ghost vehicle right now. If you have one of those cards, you can use it, and your guy, when you die, you'll spawn in the ghost, and hopefully that'll turn the tide or something. But it gets kind of cool because you can only use stronger ships and cards. Sorry. When further into the game it goes. So the game like dynamically makes it so that it's actually escalating as the match goes on, because you're all starting on foot and you can't really use anything besides different weapon cards, and then eventually you can start using like faster speed cards and then like tank cards and flying stuff. So the battle does definitely like it heats up as opposed to just being completely crazy out of the gate. And it's pretty fun. I've definitely seen matches swing pretty consistently. I'm also really terrible at Halo multiplayer, and I get shot in the head all the time.
No, see, the thing is, you're not terrible at Halo multiplayer. Everybody else is too good because they've been playing for like 20 years.
That might be the case, but then it becomes kind of nice that I can shoot some of the computer controlled enemies, very similar to Titanfall when there was AI controlled enemies on the field that you could attack. So that's cool, and it feels great when you like do bring out a tank and you just start like mowing guys down. Because a second ago I was just getting my ass handed to me.
Yeah, cool.
And then yeah, it's got online co-op, all the usual stuff. I'm trying to think of anything else new. You can't dual wield weapons anymore. It doesn't seem like there's the power-ups that the last one had where you could like make a clone of yourself and stuff. It doesn't have that either. So it's missing a few features. But either way, I had so much fun with that campaign.
I'm kind of glad it sounds more like grassroots, and the new thing they're introducing is that multiplayer mode. That sounds cool.
Yeah, and I was playing with a friend for a good chunk of the multiplayer, and he used up all of his cards. So I don't know how like egregious the microtransactions are, but every time you level up in the online, you get a new pack of cards. So you should get an okay stream, but then eventually it will run out, and then maybe you have to pay, maybe not. I'm not sure. They give you a whole bunch of cards right off the bat, and
Okay.
I did not play enough multiplayer to even go through those. So
I think from what I heard, the card packs or whatever are like $3 or $4 for a gold.
yeah, they're $3.
Okay.
Again, I'm not saying like so put your money in because it's cheap. Like I'm not a big microtransaction guy.
I like that you can unlock cards at least, so you can get that benefit by playing.
But obviously, the more you play, the slower you'll unlock cards. Unfortunately,
Sure.
but like I said, you start with a ton of cards, and you're not like using cards like constantly all the time because even if someone else deploys something card based and they get killed, you can use whatever they deployed. So if you shoot someone off a ghost, you can take their ghost and use it until you get killed. Or if they have a different weapon, you can pick that weapon up.
Okay, so it's kind of adding a little bit of chaos to the game. It's not adding an edge for any one team necessarily.
I mean, it adds the edge, but again, like if you lose it, like anyone can pick up that edge. So yeah,
Okay.
I guess chaos is a good way of putting it. But like my main point is, I wasn't like throwing down cards at a rate that I was gonna run out of them real quick. You might maybe if you were playing a little differently, but for the most part, I almost didn't want to because I didn't want to run out of cards. And every now and then I was just like, we're losing, I'm gonna try bringing out a tank. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
And then it's cool when you're rolling up with this tank and there's people all over the place. So it's good. I liked Halo quite a bit. I might like co-op the whole campaign in the future with people or something. That'd be fun.
That's kind of why I want to play it, like because I want to play the campaign and see the story. I like the Halo story they've put in. I like the world building they've done throughout the games and all that stuff. I think it's a cool thing they've done. But more importantly, I want to be able to play it co-op because I love going through the campaign on Legendary with another person. It's fun.
I don't think I've ever played not on normal.
It changes the game completely. Like on normal, you feel like the badass that like
Which I really
Spartans
like.
are supposed to be.
Yeah.
For higher difficulties, it becomes more of a shooting puzzle game, like what enemies you should focus fire on and take out first. Another guy will maybe flank them and go take out this group, and like you'll focus on another. It becomes more like a puzzle game.
Right. And there are squad mechanics because like I said, you're always rolling with a group of 4. So you can tell them to like go forward, attack this specific guy, like revive this dude. Yeah, there's also there's reviving as well if you get knocked down.
That's kind
There's
of
like a
weird.
count.
That's
There's
new.
a count. There's a countdown for your team to pick you up, and they usually do a pretty good job.
I hear the AI is not that smart though. They can do some dumb shit.
Oh, again, I was on normal, so for the most part, they were doing pretty fine.
Sure.
And when you're down, like you can hit X to request assistance, and they'll like run over to you like immediately if they're not down. So it seemed fine on my end, but maybe they get worse as the game gets harder.
Well, it sounds like later on, like they still do their thing and target people or whatever. But then say you get downed, The like dude that's not doing anything important will come run at you blindly, get shot, and then the next dude will come to try to get you up, get shot, and then the other guy will come to get you up and then get shot, and then you lose.
Yeah. Maybe that might happen. That's true. That happened like once. I noticed when I was playing. But anyway, that's really all I've been playing that I can talk about right now.
Sure.
So let's go to the news because there's a good chunk.
Yeah, I mean the Paris Games Week thing happened.
Yeah, I didn't even know this was a thing.
Yeah, I didn't
apparently
watch
it's been a thing for years. I found out. But this is the first time Sony's done a press conference at it, so I watched this. Did you see any of this?
I didn't, unfortunately.
It actually wasn't very interesting.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
There's a couple games announced, but I'll just kind of run through some of the highlights. They showed Call of Duty again. They showed Battlefront. Street Fighter V, they gave a release date of February 16th. They announced Tekken 7 is coming to consoles and VR.
Okay, sure.
So I don't know how that will work, but this fighting game will have VR support.
That sounds like a good way to be dizzy as fuck.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's a first-person thing or what it is exactly, but that's happening. They showed Battleborn, Boundless, Vector is a game with DJ Avicii working on it.
I don't know who that is.
He's a DJ. He makes dance music. I'm sure you've heard some of his songs.
I'm sure I haven't, but okay.
No Man's Sky, June 2016. Matterfall, which, man, some of these, I can't even remember what these games are. They showed a trailer for the Ratchet and Clank reboot. They showed more Horizon Zero Dawn. That game still looks super cool. Drive Club got bike support, and it's already out now.
Okay.
Gravity Rush 2 is still a thing. Uncharted 4, we got a release date of March 18th.
Oh, wow.
Dreams is the game from Media Molecule.
Yeah.
Riggs, which was some kind of esports mech battle robot thing, I want to say.
Okay.
Gran Turismo Sport was announced.
Sure.
Don't know anything about that. If it's kind of like the Forza Horizon to Forza, not sure.
That would be cool.
Here was probably the big one. Wild was announced.
I don't know what that is.
So this is the game that who is the Assassin's Creed guy? What is his name?
Oh my fucking god. Like the old Assassin's Creed guy? Because the new one has a different studio working on it, right?
Yeah, like the main guy that was kind of the head of the first one.
I mean, Jade Raymond was like the last name I know from that.
Was it Michel Ancel?
I mean, it's probably... I don't follow those games at all. You're probably right.
Something like that. Maybe the hang on, I'm trying to see on Wikipedia, but it's not coming. Maybe the chat can help me out. Anyway, if people remember, he was the guy. He left Ubisoft, joined another team. Yeah, Michel Ancel. Ancel. I had the last name wrong. I left Ubisoft, joined another team. That team was then bought by Ubisoft, so he came back. He wanted to make a prehistoric game, and that's all we had kind of heard about it. And this is what that game is.
Okay.
It's reminding me of what I would assume maybe Far Cry Primal is, but it's an open world survival game where you can like something like control animals, or it got crazy. You're a dude wearing like a skull on his head from some animal he killed, like a bear hide or whatever. Then you rode a bear around. He was riding a bear around the place, which that was real cool. Then he entered some cave, and there was a giant snake lady there.
Ah, okay.
Like, I would recommend looking up the gameplay thing from the press conference or any kind of trailers.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that.
Just seems real interesting, and it's kind of the game of that press conference. My description is not doing it justice.
Is it going to be PS4 exclusive?
I don't believe so. I don't think it said that.
Okay.
And the last one where I was paying attention was what is the developer? David Cage's studio, Quantum Dreams.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
This is their next game.
Oh.
It is called Detroit Become Human. And
Okay.
it seems like a metaphor for racism, but involving robots. Like there was a shot of a bus, people getting on the bus, and all robots had to get on the back of the bus.
Sure. Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
but you know, it's David Cage, so it's probably gonna have some supernatural weirdness going on.
How's the uncanny valley in whatever they showed?
They showed was a pre-rendered cutscene,
Okay.
so couldn't really get much from that. But what is your opinion on David Cage?
That dude has some crazy ideas that need to be reined in by a really good PR person or something, because he gets a little too big for his britches, I think, in his games.
I think a lot of his ideas they don't quite pan out story wise. Like
Yeah.
Beyond Two Souls had some issues, but I
Yeah.
kind of like that he's able to get away with this on such a high scale.
Oh, I have the plot for Detroit Become Human from Wikipedia here. I can
Okay,
quickly
sure.
read.
Let's hear it.
Kara, played by Valerie Curry, is a freshly produced android with artificial consciousness, discovering how it is to live among humans in Detroit, USA. She struggles to find her place as an autonomous android in a world where androids are still without consciousness and considered as practical tools to improve the comfort of humans. So it's basically AI trying to fit in a world, being the first of your kind when your kind are still just like subservient.
Looked down upon.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's going to be like a racism metaphor.
There's going to be that, and there's going to be some sort of thing where she like frees their minds or something. I can already call it.
I mean, I'm curious. Like, regardless, I enjoyed Heavy Rain. I enjoyed Beyond Two Souls, and I enjoy the ride that I go through with those games.
The ride is good, but at the end, you're just kind of like, what the fuck, dude?
There's flaws. There's big flaws, but I come out on a positive note.
Until you think about it. I agree with you. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's their next game.
Okay.
And again, like I said, a lot of the games were already announced, and it was just kind of release dates, and then only a few new games announced there. But anyways, yeah, the Paris Game Show has been going on for like a decade or something. That's a thing.
Yeah, but I think it comes so late that nobody cares because it's just E3 stuff regurgitated.
Right. I guess it's kind of holding the position of like the Spike TV Awards, because those were like late announcements too. Like you wouldn't get a ton of announcements, but there'd be some stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
So, all right, let's see what else happened. Mirror's Edge Catalyst got delayed till May 26th.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. I forget what the original release date was, but I remember it was the same day as the new Deus Ex and the new Far Cry, I believed. So that
I think that plays a big part of it, to be completely honest with you.
so that day got got less crowded.
Yeah.
Oh, coughing, man. Okay. This is just kind of crazy. This happened. So Telltale's Minecraft game came out last week.
Yeah.
I played it. I reviewed it. Episode 2 is out now.
Yeah. You can
a week
by
later.
That. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, it is.
The only way I can think that it happened that way is that episode 1 was supposed to come out sooner. Something made it get pushed back, like certification or something happened. And they were like, well, while we're waiting, let's work on 2. And it just ended up being like this. Because those games routinely take at least a month, usually like 2 months in between to get those games.
Or the whole, like, all of the episodes are done. And they're just trying to get it out there for money.
Maybe, but you would think they would have put the episodes out like as soon as they could.
In theory, yeah. I don't know. It's weird. It's really fucking weird.
Yeah, super weird from Telltale, but that's a thing. I'll play episode 2 as soon as I can. Nintendo had a couple announcements. I believe it was last night in regards to their mobile platform. We know beforehand they were going to start doing mobile games, and also a new successor to Club Nintendo. So the successor is a new account system, which I believe is called My Nintendo. It's going to work on your smartphone, your game systems, your computer. So Pretty much what Club Nintendo did, except I guess smartphones is new. And it's also saying that it's going to be able to like sync character and game data, and then store it in the cloud. So maybe you could bring your save game to a friend's house that way. I don't know. Like the Xbox and PlayStation do this. The Wii U does not do it, but maybe they're going to start doing that.
Yeah, it seems like their new thing is literally just like them expanding the umbrella to include their mobile stuff they're going to be doing.
Right.
Yeah.
They're going to have a new points program. Stuff like discounts are going to happen based on the games you play. This one is a little confusing. There are also plans for your Nintendo account to get special member benefits at theme parks, movie theaters, and stores.
Huh.
I don't know.
Air miles or something?
I guess. I don't know. I can't think of any retail or stores here that are going to be like, oh, yeah, you play Nintendo games, so you get a discount on this movie. Like, no.
Like maybe Toys R Us.
Maybe Toys R Us. Even then, I doubt it. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, that's coming again. I'm always up for getting discounts on games for playing the games because, of course, I'm going to play those games anyway. So
yeah, might as well get something out of it for all the hard game playing. So,
and then they announced their first mobile game called Miitomo.
Yeah,
and it looks like Tamagotchi Life.
Yeah, or just like specifically Tamagotchis back in the day,
except with Mii's.
Right? Yeah. I'm super stoked.
Which is Tamagotchi Life. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of Tamagotchi Life. Why are you so stoked?
Because you weren't a fan of it because they sold it as a game. I'm super stoked for just a dumb app where you can do that sort of shit when you're bored.
It's going to be free to play with in-app purchases. Coming out, it's going to be out by March 2016, which is a delay compared to their fall 2015 that they announced this past spring.
Yeah.
And they said this is necessary to allow enough time for Nintendo to promote the app.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll download it. It's going to be free to play, so I'll see what it's like. I'm not excited. I don't care at the moment.
Sure.
I'm assuming it's going to be like exactly like Tamagotchi Life.
No, it'll be way less because you had to actually pay for Tamagotchi Life.
Then I'm even less interested because Tamagotchi Life was already pretty bare bones, in my opinion.
It was pretty bare bones, for sure.
Moving on. Oh, it's probably the most important news of the week. Criterion Games confirmed on Twitter that Burnout Paradise is going to be backwards compatible on the Xbox One.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's great. So now people can go out there, continue to buy Burnout Paradise, and continue to play it. That's fantastic. That means they're going to have the server still running. The best game keeps going. This is great.
Yeah, it's really good.
Mario Maker is getting a huge update on November something. Where's that date? November 4th.
Yeah, and checkpoints, dude. Oh my god.
That's probably the biggest thing, which is crazy.
Oh, give me the checkpoints.
They're also going to you're going to be able to give power-ups contingent upon Mario's state. So if you smack a mushroom and you already have a mushroom, it'll be a fire flower coming out of that box instead.
Thank God. Holy shit.
The biggest one is the update, is the checkpoints.
Oh god.
And it's great to see this coming so quickly.
Yeah.
Nintendo's just doing pretty good on the support of their games post-release with Splatoon, Mario Kart 8, and now this.
Yeah, for sure.
I really want Worlds though. I want to be able to get like a playlist of levels in a row.
Yeah.
With a boss stage at the end or something. That's what I really want to see.
That would be cool.
I
agree.
What about you? What's your one thing you would want most?
Honestly, it was checkpoints, so I'm stoked. I'm super stoked.
What if you can put more than one checkpoint? Because in Mario, there's always only one, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be cool, especially if you could do something with it where, like, if you grab a checkpoint, it fucks you out of finishing the game or something. You have to restart.
That would be weird.
Yeah.
I think, if anything, it would be more like Shovel Knight, where it's just like you get a better completion if you ignore the checkpoint.
Yeah.
Also, Shovel Knight's awesome. I got to play that DLC that came out.
I think you should. I'd be interested to see what you think of it. You're muted.
Duh. Right. I told you this button's finicky. Continuing with game updates.
Yeah.
Rocket League is getting an update that's pretty big. I was watching a stream today where they were playing it. It's also coming in November. Mutators, which also have a bunch of new game types, including low gravity mode, bigger versions of the ball, slow motion, and more.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch this video real quick and see what they show. What they were showing on the live stream when I tuned in, the ball was a cube.
That sounds awesome.
It was super weird because the ball was not, because I would see their shots and I'm like, oh, that would have gone in if it was a circle.
Yeah.
But because the corner like hit the ground, it just bounced somewhere weird.
God, that's so good. Oh my God.
And like I said, they'll have mutators. So during that mode, their boost was slowly filling up automatically as well. Yeah, so I'm seeing the cube right now. Moon ball. I mean, that must be the low gravity beach ball. It's huge. I heard one was called pinball, where the ball is smaller and really bouncy. Time warp. I'm seeing a lot. There seems like there's a lot coming in November, so maybe it's another good time to jump on Rocket League. See what the. I'm curious how much of it's going to be free, how much of it's not. I know there's going to be a new stage that's going to be slightly different than the standard stages they were talking about. It's not going to be crazy, but it's going to actually be like a different shape or something like that. So that would be cool too. I hope there's jumps. I want jumps.
Yeah.
And the last bit of news is the Games with Gold titles for November. And these now will all be backwards compatible every time for the 360 games.
Cool.
I'm probably going to pronounce this incorrectly. Numa?
Yep.
Numa? Whatever. Do you know what this game is?
Nope. No idea.
Nope. No idea. That's free. Night Squad? I don't know what that is either. Those are the Xbox One games. And then the 360 games are Dirt 3 and Dungeon Siege 3.
Cool. Okay.
And like I said, all of those will work on the Xbox One. So I'm going to start downloading more games now.
Yeah,
hooray. That's cool. All right. Let's go on to questions.
Yeah.
I'm going to drink some water for my throat. Why don't you tell people where they can send questions?
Yeah, if you want to send in questions, you can do so at topdownperspective@gmail.com. You can go to twitter.com and type in @TDP podcast and send it that way. Or you can go to facebook.com/topdownperspective. That's how you do it. And then you could be like Michael for the win on Twitter, who says, if you played it, thoughts on Overwatch and any hype for Afterbirth. I am patiently awaiting my beta entrance for Overwatch, and I would kindly ask that you shut your fucking mouth about it until I get to play it. Because I
Which game is Overwatch? That sounds familiar.
Overwatch is Blizzard's Team Fortress 2.
Oh, right. Yes, okay.
And I need it so bad, and I'm kind of angry I don't have the beta access yet, but whatever. Whatever. And yeah, Afterbirth, I'm super stoked for. That is in like 12 hours from now. So I'm super
Wait, what's
super
Afterbirth?
Stoked. Afterbirth is the DLC for Binding of Isaac Rebirth.
Right. Okay.
Yep. Tomorrow.
Counterpoint Clover, I don't know what this is. I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts on Twitch Creative.
Twitch Creative is like the playing genre or whatever when you go to browse. Creative genre is basically people like digitally painting, making games, or just like actually drawing, painting, that sort of thing, like art stuff.
Wait, not video games.
Not video games, which is kind of what this is a
Bob
thing.
Ross.
Yeah, actually Bob Ross is like the biggest thing on Twitch right now, so Twitch Creative is huge right now as we speak. So. There was a time where Twitch would get really uppity if what you were broadcasting was not gameplay. And sure. I think it's kind of weird that they put in a creative thing, mainly because for people that like have done art before, been in art classes, or like has watched somebody work on something, it's super meticulous and boring to watch. Just like because
sure, it's interesting for some people. Like it must be. There's 60,000 people watching Bob Ross.
No, they're not watching Bob Ross. They are all in a chat room just like talking shit, because that's what happens when something gets big enough. They're not actually caring about what's on the screen anymore. They're just there for the chat experience, which is totally fine.
I think this is a cynical look at this, but I think this makes a lot of sense.
You say cynical, but I say realistic. The thing with creative though is that if you go to a stream, you kind of want there to be some chat interaction. Like if you're watching something and you say something, you kind of want like the person playing to at some point see it or maybe make mention of what you're talking about. There has to be a little bit of a back and forth, otherwise you would just be watching YouTube. With creative stuff, like if you've worked on stuff before, you know you are so just like into that painting or whatever that you are not looking at chat. You are listening to music and you are just drawing, basically. So, I don't know.
But I'd be like, hey, chat, what do you want me to draw?
Yeah, sure. That is a totally different thing, and that's cool. I like that.
You need feedback for a live video. Like, I've watched those videos where people put GoPros into bald eagle nests, and then you just watch the birds hatch, and those are cool.
Yeah, but you watch it for like 10 minutes. You don't spend all day on it.
Sometimes you leave it on the background of your computer for the whole day.
Sure. All right.
Or when that guy was had his drone live streaming Burning Man like all day, that was silly. But why not?
Because Twitch should be about video game stuff, and other streaming sites should have the other stuff.
I guess, but like, what's the next biggest streaming site?
The thing is, there isn't, because Twitch like is killing all of that.
So I get you. I mean, so someone would have come along and done this. I guess Twitch is just jumping on that, and they have the infrastructure for it.
Yeah.
Okay, there's that one. Andrew writes, I recently started playing Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor Overclocked and hit a snag. Most of the demons I had been fighting were around level 5 to 7, with my levels being around 7 to 8. All of a sudden, I had to fight this level 17 monster. Understandably, it kicks my ass. But the real kicker was I hadn't saved in 2 hours, so now I have to play it all over again. My question for you today is, have you ever had a time in a video game where a random difficulty spike has halted your progress or made you lose interest in a game entirely?
Parappa the Rapper.
Lots of Final Fantasy games.
Yeah. Any RPG, JRPG where there's just a spot where you have to grind to get past it.
Like both 10 and 3, I did not finish because they wanted me to grind a ton. Another one that came to mind was that Mario Puzzles and Dragons. When you get to World 3 and the difficulty spike just shoots in the air, and I was like, well, I'm not going to grind this puzzle game, so I'm done with you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Parappa the Rapper for me. Because, like, it's fine for a while, and then there's just, like, a buggy, shitty rap that you have to do that's hard to get by, and then after that, it's just hard. But, yeah. Great B-Man writes in, a bit early, but happy All Hallows Eve to you all. Indeed, the time when everyone dons some epic gear, groups up, and raids for some fat loot, or perhaps loot that makes you feel fat, is here again. Hope everyone is going to have a good time this year. Anyway, speaking of dressing up and pretending we're somebody we're not, segues, I love them, I wanted to ask about character avatars in video games, specifically custom-designed ones. How do you usually go about it, out of curiosity? Is there any specific theme you go with? Do you try to pretty them up or make them ugly, go for tall, go for short? When given the option, are there races you prefer to choose above all else, or do you just not worry and hit random and go with whatever you get?
What do you do?
Me?
Yeah.
If I am playing a female character, this is where the sexism starts. She's always about, not the tallest, but not the smallest. Like, I keep her pretty much exactly medium height.
Okay.
She's also always a little bit bigger than skinny, but not like the maximum it can go usually. And
so medium again,
she's always top heavy.
Amazing.
That's not actually true. She's not always. It just depends on what the game is. But she always has either a ponytail or what the fuck
is so
are they
specific.
called? Or pigtails, depending on like which model is better for the game I'm playing, and it's always pink or purple hair.
Okay. Um, I usually try to make just some kind of caricature. So they're usually never like middle body type. They're usually like super jacked or real skinny.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, that's about it. I guess I'll put like hair on that I think looks cool. Usually, if I can make like pick my own character, I usually pick a girl.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I always think they just kind of look cooler
They are. Yeah.
in, in whatever like battle armor they usually end up getting.
Yep.
Um, I guess now that I think about it, I never make like super fat characters, regardless of the gender. They're either like super muscular, like as muscular as I could get them, or they're like super skinny and like lanky.
Okay.
That's usually what I do. Just some kind of weird caricature.
Sure.
Doesn't matter which gender between the two.
If I'm making a dude, like, and there's different races available, it's always a male dwarf, always with
Okay.
a beard that has braids in it, if possible, with like a orangish brown color, and always bald or with like bald with like a ponytail. Like that's always what I do.
Bald with a ponytail.
Yeah, like bald everywhere except for like a little ponytail or something.
Oh, that sounds terrible. That
Yeah.
sounds like a terrible. That reminds me. I was at a bar. Was it last weekend? I think it was last weekend.
Okay.
One of the bartenders, his haircut. So he had like just the top hair, which is fine. That's a hairstyle these days, right? So the sides and the back
Yep.
was like bald or like super buzz cut. So he
Yep.
had just hair on the top. And then at the back bottom of his head, where like the rat tail would be, he had a little thing of hair there too.
Huh. All right. That's
It was the worst. The worst. It was so gross.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. His second part is similarly, how would you name such characters? Do you give them something that fits them as a character? Do you try to create a name that would be instantly recognizable as you to your friends? Example, one I like to use personally is Baman, or Bayman, or whatever, as it makes it easily identifiable as me or something like that. Obviously, the only really important for online play, but I thought I'd ask anyway. So what's your name?
I think his example is B-Man.
B-Man?
'Cause that's
Probably,
his-
right?
Let's see. If it's a guy, I usually just give him my name. Or
So just Sean?
yeah, usually.
Okay.
Or if they have like a default name, I'll usually try and pick and just go with that. I usually care too much. If it's a girl, I'll pick like a female name that I like usually at the time.
What's the female name that you like at the time? Just an example.
My Mass Effect character was Jeanette.
Yeah, okay. Sure. For me, my male dwarf is always named something that starts with a B, ends with an N, and has an R in it. So it's always either Bairn, Biron, Bran, or Bayron. Always.
Okay.
My female characters are, if she's like of like roguish type or something like that, something melee, it's always Cyrilline. And if it's like what the fuck are they called?
Dragons.
No, like a ranger type, like
I was close.
ranged. It's always like something to do like with the Norse god Tyr, Tyr. So it's something with that.
All right. This is so much more thought than I put into the...
I play a lot of MMOs though,
That's true.
so
yeah.
like there's always character creation.
Yep. Okay, James writes, has there ever been a sequel that changes something that everyone else sees as them fixing something wrong, but you see
That's
ruining something good?
Hmm.
For instance, I hate the fact that you can move from anywhere to anywhere in Ace Attorney Dual Destinies, where before you had to move from room to room to get to some places. I can see why people would like that, but I see it as taking away from the investigation portion of the game. It leaves nothing up to coincidence, and the investigation turns into a hand-holding experience where it tells you where to go all the time. In general, I hate how the investigation portion got streamlined, but I can see other people having problems with the other aspects that they cut from it, but not this one. When I read this, so I'm only on the second game right now.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that. That would be great. I'm so tired of moving from room to room because sometimes I just get lost. Um, agree though. I guess sometimes I'll just when I'm moving somewhere, it'll just be like pop up. Oh, I guess this was where I was supposed to go. But like I'm more interested in the stories going on and the trial versions. I just kind of want to get going faster.
Yeah.
And like pixel hunting sucks, and like looking, like having to figure out the exact piece of evidence to present at the exact right time can definitely suck, especially if you lose enough times that you have to restart. Like the text speed is just too slow to even dream of doing that.
Sure.
Anyway, his question though, let me try and think of one.
Okay.
Do you have one?
I mean, for me, it just goes back to MMOs, and I hate that when they release a new expansion or like a new patch update or something, they streamline it when I got used to the way it was. For example, World of Warcraft had it where like you would have 3 different skill trees for whatever class you were playing, and you would put like points in them. And now it's just like every 5 levels, instead of getting a point you could put in your tree every 1 level, every 5 levels you get to just like choose between 3 different things. And that's shitty. Like, they streamlined it to make it easier to kind of build your character, but I kind of liked the min-maxing, like putting 3 out of 5 in this to get like a percentage of hit that I needed, and then using that extra point somewhere else. I really like that stuff, and I hate when they streamline anything.
I don't like that Rock Band 4 doesn't have full support for all the Rock Band disc exports.
That just seems really like bad.
I mean, they're working on them, but
Yeah.
Rock Band 4 seems like it was a little bit rushed when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
Another one I was just thinking of was when Criterion started making the Need for Speed games for a couple of years there.
Yeah.
And they made, oh, what was that? It was before Rivals. What was that one called? Was it just Undercover again or something? Need for Speed. I'm gonna have to look up which Need for Speed it was. But it was more open worldy, and I thought it was gonna be like a real close to Burnout Paradise because they had like online challenges and stuff.
Uh-huh.
It was Most Wanted. That's the one I'm trying to think of. The 2012 game. But they just kind of screwed up the online by making it so that you couldn't like specifically pick challenges. You had to like make playlists, so you could only do like 2 challenges and 2 races and then like a pursuit or something like that, as opposed to just I want to do only challenges, which I loved in Burnout Paradise. So they screwed that up.
Yeah. I hate having to get used to new stations in Grand Theft Auto games after, like, I know what I liked in the last one.
What do you mean by new stations?
Like, you know how they're all in different eras? Like, Vice City is in a different
I
era
see.
than, like, San Andreas. This is such a weird sticking point for me. But, like,
Yeah, this seems like everyone would love a new area to play in.
what I don't like is just, like, where's my equivalent of, like, this Radio X from San Andreas in 4? Just something dumb, right?
Okay.
Whereas it's like, I loved this, and now I have to... It's like somebody fucking with your presets on the radio in your car. You just don't do that to somebody. Like, they have it set away. You like it.
Sure.
It's such a weird thing. It doesn't even fit in line with the question, honestly, but that's something that bugs me.
All right. There you go.
Yeah. Spencer writes in. Oh, this is easily my question here.
Yeah.
Hey guys, there's a sale on a lot of Resident Evil games right now in the PlayStation Store, and I was thinking of picking up a few. I seen John play 5, so I'm gonna get that at least. Okay, I mean, whatever floats your boat. What are your thoughts on the others if you've played them? I'm not the best when it comes to horror, so how scary are each?
Are you not a fan of 5?
5, if you have somebody play with, is okay. If you don't, it's kind of shitty.
Okay.
So, I mean, yeah, pick up 5 and, like, look online to see if you can find a random person to play with or something, and then it'll be fine. But, like, your thoughts on the others if you've played them? Okay, here we go.
I mean, I haven't played any of them, so.
Fair enough. Okay, we're just going to go in order here. Resident Evil 1 HD is a classic. It has probably 2 points that I would say are quote-unquote jump scares, but they're not even that bad. It's more of an atmosphere thing. It controls really well. It looks really good. I definitely suggest you pick that one up. Resident Evil 4 is
That's
one...
like the one, right?
That's the one everybody will say. If you like what you saw from Resident Evil 5, 4 is the one you should pick up, because that is the single-player experience of 5 without, like, a bunch of weird, shitty things. There's not a lot of jump scares in 4. In fact, I can't really think of any. There might be...
there is. At the very beginning with that dog.
Like, that wasn't bad. There's probably one in there, on like, in the lake, when you get to a lake. Everything else with that game is just kind of an intense, creepy atmosphere the whole time you're playing it, but it's not like jump scary or anything. It's just kind of uneasy. Resident Evil 6 is kind of an abortion. Probably don't pick that up. Resident Evil Revelations 1 is like Resident Evil 4 or 5, but in an episodic type way because it was released on mobile to begin with. So if you want something that you can kind of cut up in a small...
released on the DS?
Yes.
The 3DS?
Yes, it was. So, like, if you want an experience you can kind of chop up into a bunch of little pieces, like episodes and stuff, it's kind of cool for that. Resident Evil Revelations 2 is quite good. It's episodic, like the Telltale stuff. Like, you can play through episode 1, put it down for a bit, play episode 2 a day later, or 2 days later, whatever. I recommend that one for sure. Operation Raccoon City is a shooter that nobody plays anymore. It is like a multiplayer online shooter that nobody plays anymore. I don't recommend picking that up because you won't find people playing it anymore. I had that problem on Steam, and I'm pretty sure you'll probably have that problem on PlayStation. Don't pick that one up. Avoid that one. Code Veronica X, you should probably pick up if you like the old school Resident Evil sensibilities of, like, the more tank controls and, like, puzzly stuff, looking around for, like, a crank to, like, open an area and keep going on. The story in that one's kind of weird, but I recommend it. I do like that one. Dark Side Chronicles and Umbrella Chronicles are on-rail shooters that I would suggest you pick up only if you like the lore and stuff in these games, because it's the fun thing about those games is you're, like, on rails going through these different parts of these other games from the Resident Evil series and, like, shooting stuff in a first-person view. So that might be last. Long story short, Resident Evil 1 HD, yes. Resident Evil 4, yes. Resident Evil Revelations 2, yes. And Code Veronica X, yes. Are the ones you should look at.
All right, there you go. Are 2 and 3 not on this list because they're not on PlayStation?
I don't know if they're on sale. They're on the PSN, though, as PlayStation 1 Classics.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Andrew writes, Sean, if you're really thinking of getting on the Rocksmith train, I can't recommend the PC version enough versus the Xbox One, Xbox 360, PS3, or PS4 versions. Why? 2 words, custom songs. For example, you could take a quick look at my list of custom songs, and you gave me a list. They're all custom-made community songs, minus about 6 official DLC songs. The list doesn't even include the original 66 songs or imports from the first game. You can get custom songs on console, but it requires a lot of hoop jumping, namely jailbreaking your console. That sounds like that's just not a hoop to go through.
Sure.
Okay, on to his question. But yes, thank you for the advice. That's I'll keep that in mind.
I just posted the link he gave us to his stuff in the chat if people wanted to see what he put on there.
Question 1. Have you met a person or animal or really anything that has a fortunate connection to a video game by name or otherwise? For example, I have a cat. His name is Big. He is Big the cat.
Okay, I don't know if that counts when you can name the thing. That's not a coincidence. That's you named it after a video game thing.
That's true. To be fair, he didn't say coincidence. He just says a fortunate connection.
But it's not fortunate because he can choose it.
I guess. I'm trying to think of one either way. Like if I just stumbled into it or if I named a pet or something.
My cat is named Reznor based off of Reznor from Super Mario World.
None of my pets had video game names. I don't think so.
Wasn't there a game with somebody named Booker? BioShock. That's your last name.
Okay. Yeah, I guess the main BioShock Infinite main character was named Booker is my last name. I'm trying to think of friends' pets. And even then I can't think of any either. Nope. Question 2. I went to one of my local GameStops recently after not visiting any for a few years, and I was surprised to see they had branched out and started selling $100 figurines that were pretty rad, like Samurai Darth Vader or some 1/5 or so scale figurines from Final Fantasy. How do you feel about this?
It makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, they also sell like Apple products now, don't they?
Yes.
Or they have like a sister store. What are those? I forget what they're called. And they sell iPods and stuff. That was around the time I stopped kind of going to GameStop and EB Games.
Well, that's the thing, is that everybody kind of did, because everything's digital now anyways. So they have to find a reason to get people into their shop.
Every time I go into GameStop, I'm just like, ugh. Like, it's just like, it's so noisy. You're getting bombarded with like a million advertisements at once. And no, I don't want to pre-order anything. Like, they still do that. Anyway.
Do they still act shitty when, like, if you were to try to buy a game, do they still do the, like, well, did you pre-order it? Like, bullshit?
I think when I went in for Batman, they asked if I pre-ordered it, and I said no, and they were like, okay. And they just grabbed one.
Okay.
So I think that's person to person for the most part.
Okay.
But, yeah, I just try not to go into GameStop if I don't have to. Like, yeah.
Is there any, like, thing there because you worked basically at one?
I mean, no, not really.
Okay.
It's just like an unpleasant shopping experience. Like, when I just want to get in and get out. So, you know, I buy digital for the most part, or sorry, I guess I'll shop wherever it's cheapest for the most part.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough. And
so, like,
where it's cheapest is usually online, to be completely honest.
A lot of the time, but like Target had that sale for Rock Band 4, so that's why I went there. Even though I guess if I think of like which store is closest to me game wise, it is GameStop. But
okay,
I've been able to avoid that for the most part. Yeah. And last question is again from Andrew. I've been working my way through Persona 4 on PSN. I was doing fine until I reached the 3rd or 4th dungeon, a literal sex dungeon. The dungeon was themed after a strip club with nude ladies outlines, smudged lipstick outlines, strip poles in the treasure rooms, and to top it all off, the boss of the dungeon is a female-shaped rainbow-colored shadow that dances on a pole and comes complete with wet body noises when it casts spells.
Oh, yeah.
Although I understand what the dungeon was criticizing, Japan's idol industry, it made me feel levels of awkwardness that I've never felt playing a game before. So bad that I felt I couldn't play it with people around.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons. Has this ever happened to you?
Yes, it has, for sure.
I mean, I don't think it's happened, but I could definitely see it easily happening. Like, just one of those scenarios of like, someone like, oh, what are you playing? And they just happen to watch like the worst moment in a game. Like if you're playing like God of War, for example, yes. And they just come in during the part where you're just having sex with the lady.
Yeah. You know that feeling you get where there's just like, there's going to be a sex scene in a movie and you're like watching it with your mom or something and you know it's coming and you just like feel that like shudder.
Like you're like, maybe I'll just go to the bathroom for a bit so I'm just not here.
Yeah, or like at the very least, I'm gonna like pull this pillow up near my face so I can like hide it, so she doesn't like see me like watching or something.
I've definitely been in that exact scenario.
Okay, so that feeling that you get from that is a feeling I get anytime there's on-screen like kissing from models.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because it looks so fucking awkward, like two polygonal like beings like doing this weird awkward kiss and like touching each other. Just and like the further they go, the more awkward it is because it's just such a silly like looking thing. And it's just like, yeah, this is my hobby, playing video games. I don't know. It's weird.
I've most of the time when I'm playing games, I'm usually pretty alone in like my room or in the living room. Like no one's like watching for the most part. So I don't think I've had this exact scenario, but there's definitely been times where these scenes have popped up, and I'm just thinking to myself like, man, I'm glad no one's around. Like, because
Yeah.
this would just be like awkward to have to explain this.
If I remember, was it Dante's Inferno had like a really bad area?
I haven't played Dante's Inferno, so I'm not sure, but probably like one of the like isn't lust one of the
Yeah.
seven sins or whatever?
Yeah, it is. You know what? I don't even remember. I just remember there being like just being some weird shitty things in that game in general. But yeah. Yes, I do feel awkward when there's like weird sexual stuff going on in video games because it is inherently awkward. Yeah.
Actually, you know what? So I'm still playing through Ace Attorney 2, and so you've played the first game, right?
Not through it, but yeah, I've played a good portion of it.
Okay, so you know how Maya can channel her sister,
Yeah.
and her sister is obviously pretty top heavy, and they like to like point that out.
Yeah.
So they do that in the second game too. But it's a different girl who can channel her, and this girl's really young, so the clothes really don't fit into Mia
Okay.
when she channels her. And every time, and I only play this on the train because it's just like my commuting game. And every time I'm just like, man, I hope people don't think I'm like just staring at this anime girl's boobs the whole time.
That's
And
yeah.
again, the text speed is real slow in that game. I cannot hit the screen hard enough.
That's the feeling I get if I play anything anime-ish, even if they're not scantily clad, because all anime girls have extremely big boobs all the time.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like I really hope somebody doesn't look over at my monitor when this is just like a normal game and this part is weird.
Anyway, that's going to do it for questions this week. Again, if you want to send in questions for next week, topdownperspective@gmail.com, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, or you can submit questions through the Facebook group. Hopefully, John will be back next week. I'm not sure, though, but 2 weeks from now, we think he will be for sure.
Yeah.
Paul, what's your game of the week?
I'm not going to say Devilian, so I'll just say Binding of Isaac, because I play that every now and then.
Okay. And I'm going to say Halo 5. That game was a lot of fun.
Cool.
I'll be reviewing it soon, so look for that. Anyways, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.